Welcome to Connections. The US resolution on Sri Lanka was passed at the UN Human Rights Council in Geneva on the 22nd of March. 24 countries voted in favor of the resolution, 15 voted against it, and 8 abstained. Though the resolution has been seen by many as an opportunity for Sri Lanka to speed its reconciliation process, it has been viewed by the government as well as sections of the Sri Lankan public as international interference. We've also seen how those who supported the resolution from within Sri Lanka have come under attack on political platforms as well as through sections of the media. Today we hear views from those who supported the resolution and those who didn't. First, some views that were expressed at a special press conference that was held at the Foreign Ministry in Colombo by the government delegation that was present in Geneva. 26 March 2012. Leaders of the government delegation to the 19th UNHRC sessions in Geneva faced the media for the first time following their return to the country. To explain their stance in Geneva and fielded related questions posed by the media, which ranged from the government's foreign policy relating to the United States, whether or not the government will accept technical assistance from the Office of the UN High Commissioner for Human Rights, to the targeting and labeling of journalists and activists by the state media over recent weeks.
We do not agree with the action that was taken by the US. We thought then and we think now that this resolution was a mistake. Because the purported objective of the resolution is to assist the implementation process here, reconciliation. Now, it is our firm conviction that far from facilitating or assisting that process, this would simply present obstacles. It is going to make the task more difficult than it was and more difficult than it needs to be. So it was negative. We don't think that it was the wise or right decision. But again, having said that, we have to look to the future. We cannot be overwhelmed by one single event. That's not how relationships work between and among countries. So we need to look to the future. We don't have to be dragged down by the past. And that is why I have accepted with pleasure the invitation that was extended to me by Her Excellency Secretary of State Hillary Clinton to visit Washington.
You will not take any technical assistance from the Human Rights Commission and will not allow anybody to visit Sri Lanka?
Technical assistance can only be given to a country with the consent of that country. That is abundantly clear from the General Assembly resolution which established the Human Rights Council. It is there, that phrase is there. What we are opposing is the internationalization of the Sri Lankan situation. We do not want to submit ourselves to any course of action which takes away the sovereign right of this country, the sovereign right of the popularly elected government of this country to determine the destiny of this island and her people.
We have been always very proactive in Geneva. We have not waited for them to come and ask us of the progress that we have made. We have voluntarily shared that information and we will continue to do that. And what is also important is that the Universal Periodic Review on Sri Lanka is at the end of October. Actually, it's the 2nd of November, the date that has been fixed for Sri Lanka to be discussed. So we have already started preparing the UPR document, and as the rules require, by about July, we will make the document available so that the High Commissioner's Office can circulate it amongst delegations, amongst NGOs, INGOs for comments. And in October, we will go and we will participate in that process. And this is why we said that this resolution is premature, unwarranted, and ill-timed, because there's an excellent opportunity in October and November to engage with Sri Lanka in a formal setting of the Human Rights Council.
Could you kindly comment, please, Minister, about the current threats that are being issued on a daily basis on the ITN state television network with silhouetted and quite close-up blurred pictures of certain journalists and human rights workers, accusing them of being traitors and saying we're going to reveal more about these people in the coming days and more names in the coming days?
You have to take into account the nature of some of these statements which have been made. They're very emotive, volatile statements. which are intended to evoke a certain reaction. You know, talk of burning bodies in the streets of Colombo. And people who are not familiar with the situation will begin to entertain alarming images of life in the city, which is as far removed from the reality as anything could be. Now, confronted with that situation, I don't think that you would seriously question that some people would react very strongly. Now, when you blame the reaction, you must also, in all fairness, focus upon the sense of responsibility of the people who make these allegations, knowing full well that they are absolutely false, fictitious, a figment of the imagination. Thank you very much for your participation.